Welcome everyone. We'll talk about agile project management process in this presentation. Yes, it is the latest version of project management where we are very reciprocative about various changes and we are intent to incorporate as on when the changes happens around it. Yes, that's the thing which will be in terms around here. Let me ask you, just for the sake of asking, how many of you are familiar with agile project management? Can you raise your hands? Probably no. How many of you have used or managed team using either Scrum or Kanban in the past? You know, most of us have utilized the Kanban system. The Scrum is the latest technology that has been utilized for agile project management. The Scrum technology, in fact, most of the software that are being run, let's say Slack is a software that's top run in the out here in the Android app stores, iOS app stores. Another top project management software, if I may say so, is Trello. Now, Trello is also utilized for scheduling and probably follow-up process. So Trello and Slack both are based on Scrum technology. And believe me, these are Microsoft-oriented software that I've been announcing it on. Locally, there are n numbers of software which are into operational issues of the management come whatever industry we are talking around it. So how many of you are currently in managing projects with using agile approaches? Now, if you are accustomed to the agile project management, well and good, nothing to be discussed here. Probably this presentation will give you an add-on information basis, but the audience who is watching this video for the first time and coming across with the terms called agile management will be benefited long run. So yes, as in a project or in, let's say, everything that goes around it, what are we looking into it? We need to understand the best approaches that has been mentioned. We need to articulate what is agile to your agencies and the projects we are locating as on when on basis as the case might be, right? Let us. So, what is agile development? Agile project management refers to project management methodology centered around the idea of iterative development. Now, what is iterative development? Is a block by block development, step by step process that comes around it, where requirement and solution evolves through collaboration between self organizing cross functional team. The ultimate value in agile development is it that it enables the teams to deliver value much faster, much quicker, much efficiently, with greater quality, predictability, and a greater aptitude to respond to the change as the case might be. Yes, Scrum and Kanban are the two most widely agile methodology. If you have noticed, I've also given you a link in this presentation where from I have actually brought in the materials, and I would advise all the audience to this particular video to visit cprime.com. You will find enormous amount of resources as in what is all about agile, what is all about Scrum. You'll get to know things which might enlighten your horizon as far as. So the Agile Manifesto was as a statement of values. You know, in project management, it is all about individualism and interaction, whereas we are talking about process and tools as far as things are concerned. So we are giving priorities to individuals, interactions over process, over tools, as has been done in the traditional project management basis. Similarly, on a working software, precedence has been given rather than to a comprehensive documentation as was the prevalent practices as of now. Customer collaboration, yes, we are much more reciprocative as per the requirement of the customers over the contracted negotiation process. Now, contracted negotiations happens, it happens much way in advance before the project actually gets initiated, right? But during the execution of the project, you see a lot of changes can be incorporated, and that is what customer collaboration comes around it, because customer requires different needs, their needs gets evolved over a period of time. So what was the intended usage and what was the actual usage, there might be a wide differences. So yes, collaboration is given precedences altogether. So essentially it is responding to change over following a plan, as in reciprocity, as we are talking about it. We need to mimic the requirement of the customer so that it benefits the customer in the longest possible terms. What is Scrum? We need to go around it. What is Scrum? It's a product development occurs in a series of 2 to 4 weeks. sprints. In I've given you a complete process out in the process out here in the Scrum. Look at it. What comes around here? It is a sprint planning. It's a daily Scrum. It's a sprint review. Is the sprint retro. Now, what is it exactly means? It's the people involved in a project. They are working towards the goal, but in the process of working towards the goals, they incorporate or they encounters a lot of changes, lot of difficulties, lot of detrimentals on the way, and to skid away the ways, to skid away the problems, what needs to be done. There can be an incremental solutions to it. There can be inculcations of the stakeholders around here, and that is what Scrum is all about here. All product requirements are captured in a product backlog. Sprint works is captured on a sprint backlog. This is most desirable. Enables frequent potential shippable incremental release. We are talking about sprint reviews. We are talking about timely feedback. We are talking about stakeholder alignment. Remember, this is of prime importance. Yes, self-organization team is what has been done. I have given it out. Now, this was the statement, and this is the Scrum task board. And if you look into it, the product backlog gets changes, get reflected as on when on basis, as in sprint backlog, in progress, peer review, in test, and so on and so forth. Now, this is the requirement. Please remember the product development and what exactly is Scrum. Scrum is an evolving process which can be incorporated in your say. So what exactly is Kanban? Kanban we have already known is on the card system that comes around. It's a lightweight, lean, agile process as in what is to be done and how it is to be done. What was things? Now, these are the card system that needs to be taken into consideration. Used when work items are not known in advance, as in what are the next outcomes of the process that comes around it. It's great for a reactive work, focuses on limiting in the process and increasing the flow of work as the case might be. So let us understand, to do Kanban, we need to try it out. Absolutely. It is all about per se. Yes, now the question comes around as in what is agile? Agile is from static to being dynamic, as the case might be. It is all about being more productive and less to manage, as the case might be. We are talking about agile system, which is frequently managed, which is frequently visible, which is intuitively felt and seen. Issues surfaces earlier, better stakeholders engagement, faster delivery, adaptable to the change as the case might be. So that is what we go to. Now, top 10 best practices, how you can help your team succeed at Agile. Let me discuss it out for you all the way. So, number one is to educate, is to involve, is to uh, bring in cooperation or solicit cooperation from everyone, one and everyone who is associated with the project. It is all about educating your team. It is all about educating your partners. In a nutshell, you should educate yourself about the changing environment as on when on basis. Pick the right approach. Yes, this is what we are talking about it. Ensure that every stakeholder is engaged in the process of achieving the desired goal. So yes, that's the number comes around it. Let us come visit and talk about the second step. Now, this is all about backlog and alignment around it. In case if you have missed out any issues, in case if there are certain bottlenecks that needs to be addressed, please do so. And that is what we can do when we can have a clear vision, when we can have a distinct, clear communication per se. The strategy needs to be communicated. Provide the context in why we are taking a decision back out there. Groom and reprioritize as regularly as possible. This is what driving backlog alignment consists. We come to the step number three. Now, this is what I would love to go around it. And in fact, this is the best methodology to go around is to think one at a time, think incrementally as the case might be. The pic shows the right depiction of what I wanted to convey to you people. Embrace the sprint based development as on when on basis. Think incrementally, take one thing at a time, and so on. So obviously, yes, you need to break down the task into small slices as often as possible. This is what we are looking forward to. Next will be prioritizing the hard earned work around here. We are talking about the high value efforts rather than the low value efforts. So which needs to be having the right. Step number 4 is to have a right team roles. Everybody should be aware of what is expected of him or of her, as the case might be. Product owner owns the features. Scrum master possibly runs the process altogether. We need to understand Scrum team is cross-functional, is self-directed, or should I say self-managed. If things goes wrong, they need to take appropriate actions as required. Step number 5 is empower self-directed teams. Now we are talking about self-directed teams. Let the team figure out the how. Let the team figure out the how. When I say how, what is the reasons that we are going to scratch through, find out the reasons for why certain things is malfunctioning. Hotline if they need your help. Obviously, yes, you should always be at the beck and call, and everybody should ensure that you are perfectly approachable. Establish clear status reporting as on when on basis what report comes around it. Protect your team. Definitely. Step number 6 says, come what may. In cases the project management backfires, in cases you find you are at a receiving end, always ensure that your team can depend on you. You have to save their back at any time. Should team sprint from disruption? Shield them. Absolutely. Route ask through PO or SM, or should I say the project officer or the senior management, as the case might be. Everything that needs to be taken into consideration as on when on basis. If we can go about it, nothing can go wrong. Use file lane for emergencies. That is what we will be talking around it every now and then. Let us move to the 7. We are talking about agile meeting. If possible, always have so. And at the end of the meeting, ensure what are the action points that needs to be taken into consideration. At the beginning of the meeting, why circulate the reasons for the meeting, therefore, so you have a clear end objectives both pre-meeting and post-meeting. So that is what we look into it. Look at the pick. I have given you a wonderful pick for you to understand that every person, every individual is different. No two individuals are similar to one another. They might sound similar, but they are not. I'm afraid that they are not at all. So support agile meeting, provide a dedicated space, dedicated tools, make meeting time as scared as possible. Ensure that people are able to solve the issues, solve the problem on their own. Time attendance is not optional, definitely not. We need to understand that team attendance is what we are, is a mandatory factor that every of it. Step number 8 is attending the sprint review. As on when on basis, you need to understand where have you achieved and what was your net result. Show your support by bringing out the snacks, etc., and things like that. This is what we are looking forward to. We should ensure that things goes in the right perspective. Provide, encourage feedback. This is very thorough. Encourage meeting consistencies as on when on basis. The consistency from the previous meeting, as in what we have left and where have we come across, as in the beginning of the meeting for the next. The penultimate step, the step number 9, is to measure progress. Incremental, nevertheless, whatever the progress is, always measure it. Always ensure that the concerned person who should receive, there should be a quite a handful of people or team probably who should receive praises for doing wonderful work, feature progress, burn up charts as on when on basis. Look, we have given you a burn up charts for you to understand what happens with the burnout ratios, wherein the blue line depicts the total number of project tasks which has been completed, and the total number of tasks that needs to be done, and whatever the red line shows what a number of tasks needs to be completed. And if you look at it, every meeting or every iteration it started, we had 100 units, but in the midway, by the time we went from iteration 0 to iteration 5, the goal changed from 100 to 120 tasks per se. Let's say that was the expectation that the customer had put through, and we are right on time as on when on basis. Probably, if you look at it, the early journey was slow and steady, but as we progressed with the passage of time, things galloped at the requisite speed. Measure progress, feature progress, burn up chart, velocity chart. This will entangle how the team is performing, what is the contribution of each individual that comes around it. And this is where I've been telling it to you about the velocity chart. What happened with sprint one, what happened with sprint two, as well as commitment and delivered. The blue bar depicts the commitment, the red block depicts the delivery things. You look at it every sprint, we are closing the gaps between the commitment and the delivery part of it. Is all about it. Team retrospective resolution, and what are they? Resolution, as in who are doing what all things. Support continues. The last step is support continuous improvement. Every now and then we need to get our things, our acts together. Sprint retrospectives, as the case might be, encourage team feedback, act on it. Obviously, yes, drive changes through the agencies. So we have the sprint retrospective. We need to give feedback to the team, even act upon it, drive as the case might be. Let me get through you for all your understanding. We were speaking about the project management concept, agile project management concept, the benefits thereof, and the top 10 best practices that just been all of you. So every morning, one thing which I would love my audience to do around is take one small step. No matter how wonderfully minute it can be, but take that one additional small step every morning. Get some education, engage your team, build a camaraderie, build a team spirit, build a sense of trust among your team members. Pick your methodology, set up the scrum board, and start daily scrums. It can be on your notice board, it can be anything that comes around it. Ensure that everybody who is contributing, their name should be figured. Ensure whatever tasks get are to be prioritized should be figuring out, so that every team member knows what is expected. With this, I come to an end of this particular presentation. Thank you for watching this presentation. Thank you once again.